Hinokami Chronicles has a total of 19 maps compared to the 10 maps that the first one had. Yet, for some reason, even after completing the entire story mode with an S rank and collecting every single collectible there was still one map I hadn't unlocked yet. Maps aren't something you're able to unlock in the shop with points, and so after doing some research, I discovered that this map is the Hot Spring map. I'm not gonna lie, unlocking this thing is probably the most difficult challenge in the entire game, and at the point of recording, less than 20 people have it unlocked across the entire PC player base. But don't worry, because I managed to reach rank 8 on the leaderboard, and I'll help you do the same. Because other than just letting you know how to get the map itself, I'm also going to give you as many tips as I can not to suffer as I did. First, you want to enter what's called Endurance Mode in the Versus tab, the one with Inosuke's big head on it. It's basically another way to say Survival Mode, as you'll just have to take on opponent after opponent. There's a few variants, and the top 3 will have you complete the time challenge against a set number of opponents. What we need is the bottom version, which will put you up against an infinite amount of opponents. Our goal is to beat 40 opponents in a row. Once you beat the 40th enemy, you'll unlock the Hot Spring. Doesn't sound that bad, right? Yeah, right. Let me explain why this is so difficult. Because when you start out, the game will have you believe that you're stomping the CPU until it pulls out the Uno Reverse card at round 21. Okay, so first of all, your health doesn't fully replenish after each battle. You'll gain some of it back after every opponent you beat, but it's only a small amount that won't help you out in the long run. Eventually, the CPU will easily do twice the amount that you recover at the end from a single combo. Once you get hit a single time, well, there goes all your hard-earned health. Secondly, you'll face just about every character in the game. I don't know if there's some sort of logic to it, but you can face both Slayers and Demons. I found that there's some characters who gave me an easier time, like Gyu and Inosuke, while others had me sweating my ass off. Particularly Tengen, who just mowed through everything, and Daki, who just kept messing me up at medium distance. Just something to keep in mind. Be careful of poison characters as well, like Shinobi and Gyutaro, as keeping your health as high as possible is incredibly important in this mode. So, coming back to what I said before, what exactly makes it so much more difficult starting from the 21st battle? Again, be careful, because the game will have you believe you're stomping for the entire first half of the challenge, and I think I know why that is. There's this mechanic in the game called Surge, and if you've played the Storm series, it's comparable to what was called an Awakening there. You power up, do more damage, and demons even get to regenerate health. Keep this one in mind for later. Normally this power up runs out once the bar empties out. Anyways, if you pay attention as you fight through the ranks, you'll notice that during every 5th fight, the CPU will start to glow and get to be in the Surge mode for the entire battle for free. Now this in and of itself isn't why I think the battles get harder and harder, but I do think it's an indicator of something else that's going on. Let me explain. There's 5 difficulty settings in Hinokami Chronicles: very easy, easy, normal, hard, and very hard. I believe the endurance mode starts you off at easy, and every time you beat a searched opponent, meaning after every 5 matches, that difficulty gets raised by 1. So very easy until 5, easy until 10, normal until 15, hard until 20, and you probably guessed it, very hard starting from 21 onwards. I feel like the CPU on very hard is so much harder to battle against than the CPU on hard mode. You can test this for yourself as well, but CPUs on very hard will give you barely any time to breathe. One thing I find particularly difficult to deal with is when they jump all over the place. Other difficulties will either wait around or straight up dash at you, whereas very hard will almost always try to fake you out. From dashing at you, then blocking to stop, to dashing at you, then sidestepping, or even jumping over you at the end if you try to counterattack their dash. I've even seen them dash in with their support, only to grab you last second if you try to block. All in all, the difficulty spike from 20 to 21 is insanely high. The fact that at launch, over half the leaderboard was stuck at 20 supports my theory. I unfortunately don't have any footage of that, so you'll just have to take my word, but at launch, when I lost the 21st battle, I was placed 140th or so on the leaderboard. Place 40 also lost at the 21st battle. This means that at the time, only 40 people made it above battle 20, let alone the 40 you need to unlock for the Hot Spring map. At the time I tried it for the first time, only 8 people had this map unlocked, and that was like 2 days after the early access release, so it was not like it was literally on launch. Honestly, what were they thinking? I feel like the unlock should be at 20 or so, maybe even 21 to include one difficult fight, not this. Regardless though, no need to worry, because I'll help you get there with some tips and even a cheese strategy at the end if nothing else works and you just want to map already. Firstly, remember that keeping as much health as possible is incredibly important in this mode, as you'll only get a small amount back at the end of each round. Keeping that in mind, you might want to select a demon character for this challenge, as they're able to regenerate health mid-match by activating boost or even surge. If you do go this route, try to be careful with when you activate your boosts. A few tips I can give regarding this is that you shouldn't boost if you think the match will be over soon. When you boost, your health slowly regenerates as long as it's marked white on your health bar. If you're still in the process of healing and you end the fight, you'll lose the remainder of your boost, and so also your potential health. You could always attempt to stall by running away, but I don't recommend this, as things only have to go around once in the later battles of the challenge for you to lose an entire boost worth of health due to one sweaty CPU combo. Also try to only use boost once both of your special bars are filled. This one is less important than the previous one, but your meter doesn't fill while you're in boost mode. This means that any meter you might build normally is wasted if you fight while in boost mode. Now if you're in a pickle and need that boost ASAP to get your health back, go for it. Not dying is obviously more important than having another boost ready to go a bit quicker, but if you can help it, boosting once you see a 2 down there will help you be as efficient with your meter as you can. This also means you shouldn't be using your meter for ultimate attacks, as cool as they might look. Health is so important in this mode. While an ult might finish off one opponent a little bit quicker, you still have dozens of opponents to fight after. Also, do not use your boost to regenerate when your health is still up a certain amount. Boosting will regenerate your health by about the length of one stamina bar and a quarter, a little bit more. That means that if you have more health left than that, boosting will waste some of the potential health you could have gotten back if you had waited a little bit longer. The final tip that I have for you regarding regenerating health in this mode is that you can actually use gear in this mode. Equips let you buff certain moves like skills and basic attacks, but more importantly, if you did decide to play as a demon, there's a very nice item that lets you recover more health when you go into boost or surge mode called enhanced healing. If you equip this, you'll heal almost 2 stamina bars worth of health as opposed to the 1 1/4 we talked about earlier. The reason why this is so strong in this mode is because you are constantly in need of health, using boost almost every match, while normally you might not be spamming it that much. The extra bar or so of health adds up over a long time, especially since you'll be here for at least 40 fights. Keep in mind that if you do decide to go into fights with this gear equipped, you might want to hold off on healing until you're down at least about 2 bars worth of health instead of the 1 1/4 from before, as you might otherwise waste some of the health you might have potentially gotten back. Other items might be interesting if you plan on cheesing the fights, but more on that later. As for general strategy, anything really goes for the first 20 fights or so. Once you reach number 21, you'll notice that the CPU starts to become hyper aggressive, dashing at you from all the way across the map. I've noticed that most of the time, they'll throw out their supports first thing and then dash at you at the same time. Try to avoid being attacked by both characters at the same time. Jumping and dashing works really well for this instead of just trying to run away, as you'll be able to get out of the way of almost anything if you time it well. Things that make actual players trip up, like playing hyper aggressive yourself or going for grabs, don't really work as much on the CPU. You should prioritize not getting hit over everything in this mode, as in the later stages, a single touch by the enemy can lead to a combo that takes off more than a quarter of your health. Don't play risky, play slow. One of the most useful things that you can do is waiting out their attacks until they throw out a skill with a long cooldown animation, then start attacking by either dashing at them or throwing a skill out at them, for example. And with that being it for my general tips, if you really don't want to cheese, I wish you good luck because you'll really need it. Unless you mean to cheese this fight because you only care about finally getting the final map you still haven't unlocked yet, because then you've come to the right place. I was so sick of this mode, I figured out a strategy that works so well it helped me into the top 10 of the entire PC player base without putting in much effort. Though I have some tips for you, even if you go this route, as you can still get your ass beat if you mess up. I'm sure there's other characters who are able to do something similar, but I went with Zohakuten as his guard skill not only has armor, meaning you can be hit out of it, it also has a giant range, catching any annoying CPU that tries to dash at you from across the entire map. And last but not least, if you hit this skill, it'll crumple the opponent, meaning they'll be dazed for a bit, slowly falling to the ground, giving you the opportunity to get some free damage in. As I personally wanted to put the minimum amount of effort in, I walked up to them every time I hit them with his guard skill, throwing them before running back to recover some energy to do it again and again and again. Now, if you feel like doing more, you can always combo them after you've hit them with your guard skill. But if you're lazy like me, throwing works as well and is a little bit safer if you're scared of messing up combos. I even equipped an item alongside the healing item that increased my throw damage with every throw performed. But I tested this out in practice mode and the difference is fairly small, only doing an extra 300 damage or so on the maximum stacks you can get of 4. Now, as for how to use his guard skill, I would hang back most of the time. Wait until the CPU throws out a dash at you, then hit them. They'll be staggered, leaving you free to do whatever you want. There's still a few things to look out for from what I've noticed. Firstly, pay attention if you're facing a Yaiba, Susanoo, Deku, Daki, and even Rui at times. You'll want to play a bit more aggressive with them as they'll quickly overwhelm you from a range. This isn't a huge deal, but try to hit them with your guard skill as they get up every time if you can. I've noticed they'll start spamming if you give them enough space. Tengen and Zenitsu are also characters to look out for because they gave me by far the most trouble. Zenitsu also has a skill where he slices through you, ending up behind you and also behind your skill, so be careful because your skill has a long cooldown, meaning he can mess you up if you miss. I don't know if this is only Tanjiro and Rengoku in particular, but I've noticed that these two just love to jump over you as they dash towards you. Even though it's not necessarily a long time, your guard skill does have some startup time in which you are armored and can be staggered, but your attack still has some delay to it. This means that normally CPUs will be hit even if they start attacking you after a dash. But if they manage to jump over you before you start the attack itself, they can start attacking you from behind, save from all the damage that you're trying to do. Try to start your guard skill a little bit earlier with them. Last but also not least, Tengen's wives gave me a small issue as well, as their attacks seem to be a bit delayed, hitting me after I already used my guard skill, but this might also just be any character that uses a support skill. I'm not sure on that one. As for Gyu, Yoriichi, Nezuko, and especially Inosuke, I seem to have a very easy time with them as they constantly just dash and dash and dash at you, letting you spam your guard skill every time that they do it. And that is how I personally beat the challenge, unlocked the hot spring map, and reached the top 10 in endless or endurance mode, whatever you want to call it, even though it might have been a little bit cheesy. Now, as for a final secret tip, because you've watched all the way to the end, when you quit out of the match, it suspends your match, meaning you can come back at any time to continue. What's helpful about this is that you can do this at any time, even when you're stuck in the middle of a combo, and it'll start you off from the very beginning, although with your current health. Doing this at the start of a combo when you already can't dodge anymore will save you from taking some extra damage. I've also heard that you can quit out of the game entirely or turn your console off, and it would supposedly start you off with full health next time, but I'm not entirely sure myself on that one, and if you do want to attempt it, I would recommend doing that on a lower stage so you don't lose all your progress if it goes wrong. Personally, I was too lazy to use this trick, I just didn't care anymore at a certain point, but you can always use this to at least reach 40 if you really want that map. I am honestly so curious how many people beat this challenge legit, and I honestly think it's a little bit much that they blocked the map behind this. It felt incredibly difficult to do when I tried it legit, and even when I cheesed it, I was sweating sometimes, and I'd love to know if any of you guys managed to do it, so definitely let me know down in the comments if you did. My personal best, even though it was through cheesing, I managed to reach 66, and I wonder if anyone can beat that score, so if you did, also let me know. The hot spring map being locked behind this challenge is really one of the only minor complaints that I have about this game, and I have to say I might have just been worried about nothing. If you want to know what I'm talking about and what I mean, make sure to check this next video where I talk about it.